I think we are alive without exploding yet, which is already off to a fortuitous start given um I guess I don't know the complete like incident of like I the prior stream. But we're still alive, which this is kind of like a thankful, I don't know, like it's kind of like a hopeful start, but I do not want to jinx it. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and hop into it. I guess I've kind of been low key like obsessed with like the what's it, Spyro the Dragon game. Like I keep listening to the music from it. From like I don't listen to like a lot of I guess video game music. Wait, let me switch the screen first. Yeah. So I don't listen to like a lot of like I guess you would say like video game music. Like this is not a thing that like I do outside of like selecting it um for this so that I do not get attacked by the copyright. But I started listening to music from the Spyro the Dragon original trilogy, like official soundtracks, and this stuff is kind of wild. The games themselves are kind of wild too, but like it it's been in my head I think as like a very weird kind of like fixation, but like not in the sense of like I want the well I do want to play it, but not in the sense of like I'm gonna play Spyro the Dragon or replay it. More so just like I can't quit thinking about it. I don't know how to describe this. It's like a thought form like lodged deep within my mind right now. Just thinking about it in the sense of like it's kind of crazy that this thing existed. uh, but yeah, I don't know. That's my that is my. There's probably gonna be a few like Spyro the Dragon spiels like this until it is out of my skull. Which I don't know when that's going to happen, but I don't know. It's a cool game. It's a cool game. Yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and hop right into it. Um, Here, where do we live? Where do we live? Can we go to this guy? All right. So I don't know what day it is. I think we said it was the seventh last time, and I think that's horribly wrong. It's like I think it's like 1:20 something. So like one. We'll just do that. We'll just do that. Like 1:20 something 2 secs. That seems accurate enough, Loki. Yeah, that's close enough. All right. So we are we are still like in Haskell January, which is exciting, also terrifying. It's mostly exciting, I would say. Oh, hello, Control O. Hello, hi. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're well. Um, we are we haven't blown up yet, which I'm just like mostly appreciative of that. I I feel my eyes are constantly switching from the what is it the like unstable events thing to my like from one screen to the other screen. I Frankenstein is incorrect. That's it. That I think it's because it's lowercase. Oh well. Well, we shall let it stand as it is. But yeah, I don't know. We're still in Haskell January, but there's been kind of like a slight problem with this, right? Like, um, not like a problem with Haskell itself. Like, it's not a Haskell problem. But more kind of like I would say like issue the issue as it stands is that like really I haven't been doing very much Haskell outside of the stream. Is the main thing. I've been slacking in this department. I've been doing trains and Owl Lisp on the phone. Oh, this sounds exciting. I saw you mention this. The use of Owl Lisp on the phone. I feel like we will have to do Owl Lisp at some point. This is kind of like the future necessitates it. The future on the road kind of way. That's kind of exciting, like on the road, but in a train. This is sort of the dream is like being able to travel via train, just like anywhere I want. This is sort of the case like right now, but it's not trains so much as it's buses. I think I can I can travel quite a distance via public transit on a bus, which is this is a new thing to me, and this is fortuitous is the best way I can describe it. I would say as one who does not like to operate an automobile, but lived in Texas prior to this, and was you know compelled to by the nature of the grand highways of Texas to operate such a piece of machinery, open TDD or TTD trains. This is true. This is trains are awesome both in games and IRL. This is kind of the case. So like I kind of think about this. Actually, can we find it? Can we just go to okay. So this is. I wonder if I can find it. Not trains quote. All right. I wonder if I can find it. So this is what is it? The book Walden. The the book about the guy who goes to live in the woods. This guy. Can can we just get like a can we get like a all right, this guy doesn't look too evil. Can we go to no, no? Do you not exist? Do you not exist? So Walden. So this book. Actually, let's just talk about trains for a little bit here. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. All right. So trains. So I kind of think about this, right? Like I sort of so this is kind of like a bit of a like lore background really quick. Like just a very brief one that I don't think like it's vague enough that it should not reveal anything I think about my existence, but like a bit of a lore background is like um whenever I was a very like whenever I was very young, I grew up like I kind of grew up in a like a small town that had like a I don't know what you call these, like it had a rail yard, right? Like I think this is the word for it. Like it had like a rail yard. And these were freight trains, right? These were can I spell? All right, like these were like freight trains, right? So they had these big boxes. And these things were kind of massive, like just kind of like I don't know. They were giant. Here, let me pull up a real browser. Can you pull up without exploding into a million pieces, please? All right, perfect. I kind of did. Okay, that's exciting. What do those last two words mean? Uh, which one? Rail yard. Freight. Okay, I'm not sure if a rail yard. Like, I'm not sure if you would call it a rail yard, but like trains would kind of like add. So here, let me pull up a freight train really quick. Can we can we pull this guy up? Yeah, so it's kind of like these guys, right? Like they're the trains. They have all these boxes on them. Like filled with objects, filled with like this is sort of how transport. This is like the I guess like I don't know if it's like this anymore. Yeah, box train. I think this is probably a more accurate name for them. But yeah, these guys. And rail yard was just kind of like these guys would come into like the town I grew up in, right? And they would get loaded up. Like the boxes and stuff would get loaded, and then they'd leave. And there was just this big kind of like I don't know, like this big like ad like you just see these massive trains. I think is the best way to describe it. And it was kind of interesting because I would see these because there was a train like like train tracks went right through the middle of the town, and so sometimes these trains because they kind of take forever to leave the station because they have to like well, one because they're long, I guess, but two, like they kind of have to move slowly whenever they're like leaving or like parking or whatever, and so these trains would cut through the middle of the town and sometimes block like all traffic. So this would happen going to school sometimes, and like I would end up like late, like I'd end up 2 hours late to school or something like this because a freight train had stopped in the middle of the town, and this was like a known issue. Like the town was really small, so this was kind of like a known issue of the school would be like, oh, there's a train in the middle of the town, so like half of the people are gonna be late at. But this kind of started like an early fascination with trains. This was sort of where the seeds were planted because you could see these guys and they would travel across. Hello, Bridgewater and Sun Demoniac. Welcome to you both. Welcome to you both. Yes, we are we are kind of we are discussing trains. We are discussing trains right now, which this could go on forever, but I will try not to allow it to go on forever because I don't know. I feel like I could kind of talk forever about trades. But yeah, like I thought like this was like like a strange. I don't know. I used to think that this was kind of like a very niche thing, like the enjoyment of trains, because I I did not know very many who had kind of like the joy of trains that I had. But um, well, we need to talk about Walden by like Henry David Thoreau. So like um, this is kind of like I guess kind of like the quick rundown is in the 1800s he went to live in the woods for a little bit, right? And he like wrote about it, and he liked nature and stuff. He did a lot of other cool things as well. He was kind of a cool guy, I would say. I'm kind of a fan, but like I really loved Walden. I read it in I think high school, and I think I've read it like 6 times since then. Since oh, hello Max Sylvester as well. Welcome. An early lifestyle blogger. This is kind of the case. This is kind of the case. We had an old train as an attraction in my town. I think a coal guy. I think our trains where I grew up, these were lumber. I think of some degree. I grew up in a like I grew up in like a lumber town. I think would be the best way to describe to vaguely describe this. Ooh, hello Kirsch as well. Hello and welcome. Oh, we're officially a Polish stream now. This is exciting. Um, but yeah, I grew up in like a lumber kind of like a lumber town. Like we had like is it like wood mills and all of these things. It was kind of like a very just like a very kind of like small town experience kind of thing. I kind of look back like I did not enjoy living here. I should clarify, but like I kind of look back on it like somewhat nostalgically. But we have to talk about Thoreau. We do have to talk about Thoreau. So Thoreau was also very into trades, right? Like this is kind of the main point here. Can we find Thoreau trains quote Walden? I don't know if we're gonna be able to locate this, but if we can, if we can, it would be exciting. Is this it? Is this it? I don't know. I I don't know. He was talking about the steam engine, I think. Can we try steam engine quote? Can we try steam engine quote? No. No, they don't want to get they don't want to give me what I am searching for. All right. All right. I think it was something like Thoreau train. Um oh, this is going to end me. This is going to end me if I cannot find it. Can we just do Thoreau train quote? All right. He had a couple. He had a couple, I think. So I wonder if we can find it. Quotes about trains by Az quotes. Can we find fit? They don't have it. They do not have it. But I guess kind of like Do we perhaps have it here? Do we perhaps have it here? Um, I don't think that we're gonna have it. Oh well. Oh well. So my kind of paraphrase of this is that he was very into the trains, which was kind of funny because he was very into uh he was kind of like very, I guess you would say like asocial to some degree. Very he was kind of like the first guy to say we live in a society. I think would be the best way to describe Thoreau. But he loved trades, and he had some quote that was to the nature of like he saw a train go past, and he's like, at last the Earth has a race that is like fit for it, because he saw the trains as like kind of the epitome of like, I don't know, existence. I'm not really sure, but yeah, we do not ride the railroad; it rides upon us. This is sort of he's very into trades, and I find this very funny. His mom, I think, also did his laundry for him while he lived in Walden. This was kind of like another thing that occurred. I used to know a lot more about this guy. I knew probably too much about this guy. I think. I I was kind of I was kind of a little too into like had Henry David Thoreau for a great number of years, but so it goes. But yeah, that okay. That's the train spiel. So what are we doing? So that was kind of like the lore background. So we did talk about trains, but we are in Haskell January, so we kind of do need to we kind of do need to do Haskell. Like this is kind of like something that we do have to do. Like and I think that there's what, like 7 days, like 6 or 7 days left in the month of January. So we're sort of we need to lock in. That's basically it. That's basically it, right? Like we need to lock in. Damn, it's Haskell January again. It feels like the last one was just yesterday. So some would say that it's almost always Haskell January, especially when it's January. I think this is the predicate for its initialization. Let's see. Today I got back from the city in an ancient train colloquially called kibel, which roughly translates to toilet pejoratively. That's kind of funny. That's really funny. Yeah, I are there a lot of these? Is this like a thing? Are there is this a I don't know. There's kind of like a deficit of trains, I think, in the United States of America. We have a few. We have a few, like, I think, like, notable. There's a whole Wikipedia page for that. Oh, oh, this looks exciting. Can we go there? Um, uh, can we go to can we go? Can we go? Oh, it is not pasting from my clipboard. Polish train names. Oh, there's a whole Wikipedia article about rail transport in Poland. Oh wait, this looks nice. This looks nice. I'm now somewhat regretful that I am indeed not Polish. This is this seems like a very nice thing to have, and this is sort of the thing I've been thinking about, is that, like, there's like a deficit of trains. We have a few, I think, rail systems that are known. Like there 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 there's like a, what is it, like Massachusetts, I think, has a rail system that is relatively known, and then there's like Bay Area Rapid Transport, aka the BART as they call it. Chicago also, I think, has like a pretty decent subway system, and then of course, like, New York City. But I think outside of these kind of like locations off of the coasts and out of those, and not in Chicago, you enter like the wild west of like the automobile, and it's kind of, after that, it's kind of like somewhat harrowing because I, I I was thinking about this. I actually, okay. This is because I think I had a dream about this last night. So like I had a dream about having to drive, and like having to drive like a long distance and my car breaking down like in the middle of nowhere. And this is like a a thing of genuine fear. Like this is kind of like like the flames of fear are stoked by like this concept of being in the middle of nowhere and your car breaks because I don't know, you can't really do anything about it after that. And this is sort of like I think it's interesting because this fear is kind of like so embedded within the or like anxiety is like so embedded within like the mindset that this is kind of like the premise of like horror movies. There's like a full kind of like set of movies about someone's car breaking down like in the middle of nowhere, and then you know terror happens of some sort, like some great evil occurs to them. This is sort of like a common plot thread. And I don't know, I too hate automobiles. This is sort of they're sort of like I don't know. I just I do not like the I do not like the idea of like getting behind like a ton of like steel and trying to operate it. I don't know. I think about these things and I'm like, it's kind of crazy that they just trust anybody with these. Like you just have to pass a test, and then after that you're good to go for eternity. Like you just keep on you just keep on driving, and and or though I don't think there's a place in continental Europe where you die if your car were to break. Then always like max 20 kilometers from the nearest city. So okay, this is kind of like this is a thing. I think we need to talk about the what is it? Um, like this is kind of like escape Texas lore. You know, so like for those who who may not be in the know versus those who kind of like are in the know. Um, I think this was back in June of 2025. I like you know like I escaped Texas, right? This was kind of like a years long dream of mine, and it was kind of necessitated given you know like hashtag like political in Texas currently. It was kind of like it became a bit more necessary. So I had to I had to give my dreams flight so that they could become reality. And like that like I left Texas, which I made it out, which this is great. This is like the good part. But there's this part of Texas called like the Panhandle, right? There's this part of Texas called the Panhandle. Hello, Konosuba Life. Haskell indeed. Yes, it's Haskell January right now. So we're ostensibly we're doing Haskell right now. I think we're talking about the Texas Panhandle, but but this is the shell resume promptly. But can we find the Panhandle? So this is this is it's called the Panhandle. Um, they have an image of it. They have an image of it. Can we see the so this is kind of like the region that it is, right? This is kind of the region. It's like this top little tip of Texas, right? And do we have Wikipedia? Yeah, this is basically what the whole Panhandle kind of looks like. And I was escaping Texas, right? I had to drive through this. I had to drive through this, and you know, I think like for the Panhandle, there was like one town or like one city, I think, and it's called Amarillo. Um, and then kind of like beyond that was like literally nothing, literally nothing. This was kind of terrifying because like whenever I say nothing, I don't mean like there were like a bunch of small towns or like rest stops. I mean like literally, like not even a gas station, right? Like a gas station, and this was it was kind of crazy, right? Like there was literally not even a gas station. I remember leaving Amarillo, right? Like like after Amarillo, the next like gas station was I want to say like 2.5 hours away. 2.5 hours worth of driving until the next like rest stop, and it's like a single lane road, in the middle of nothing. This is probably the most accurate depiction. Like I would look outside and just see only this, and I was attempting to I was attempting to flee the state. This was kind of like the I thought of this as like the like you know I thought of this as kind of like the final little like boss run before you beat a game is sort of how it felt like the final it was like the final boss of Texas was the Panhandle, um and you kind of do have like I didn't see any of this, right? I didn't see any of this. This was not within this was not within like my scope. See, Russian flatlands at least have some character to them, or at least that's what they are in my head. The vibes they give off. Yeah, I think I will say this about the Panhandle. Wow, like it was just big and flat and kind of you know whenever I was mentioning like the car breakdown, like car breaking down as like the plot of horror movies, it's like the idea is like if your car breaks down in the middle of like the Texas Panhandle, like the it's kind of like this type of situation. I think is like this was something I did fear as I was like operating my vehicle. As I was operating my vehicle, and it wasn't until I like got over the state line that like I finally like breathed a sigh of relief. But the nothingness did kind of continue for a little bit longer after that until like I managed to make it to like an actual city eventually. But yeah, this is kind of like the fear. They have a lot of windmills though. This is like a thing. There were a lot of windmills, and those were kind of cool to look at because I didn't realize how big a windmill is until like I saw one. But beyond that, you know, this is sort of like it's kind of like a terrifying place to live. I would imagine. Yeah, Amarillo. This is the largest city in the Texas Panhandle, and this is sort of, you know, I think in my travels, this was because it was like an 8.5 hour drive just to get to Amarillo. This was I stayed in a hotel here, and this was like the only kind of like remnant of civilization I think within the Panhandle is the city of Amarillo, which I don't know. Even then, it's what is your largeness? Do we have population? Yeah, 230,000, which I think is like larger than like that's significantly larger than where I grew up, but I think it's also significantly smaller than like where I've lived since. It's like a decently sized city, I would say. But it's sort of like it's kind of eerie because it's just like in these great fields of nothingness. But yeah, this is it. It's a very strange like locale. Kerkow, you know, like what do they say? Kirkenuenly? Am I gonna is that like a TOS file? I don't think it is. But yeah, like we I stopped here. I remember this because I was very hungry by the time I got here, and I was like I need food. And then kind of like I don't know. I'm like vegan, and this has never kind of been like a problem. I think with uh, most like traversals, but this was the longest I had ever driven, and I ended up having to go to like a pizza place and just requesting a pizza with like no cheese on it. No, like, you know, I what do they call it? Like no cheese, just the sauce, and then like a few different vegetables. And I ate that, and it was pretty good, but like it was just eerie. Like going into the like this pizza place, it was like the first signs of life I had seen in hours, like in an entire day. It was kind of like I don't know. It was such an eerie thing, but I feel like as well like I never really left like the area I had lived in for like the past decade. So I think this would have been the case if I traveled anywhere. It was sort of like there, there's a whole world out there, which I forget about this sometimes. I forget about this often. I don't know. I think we're going to. I think we're gonna. What did they say? I think we're gonna get into it now. You know that's kind of like you know that's kind of like the lore. Now it's kind of like back to like lock in lore. So what are we doing? What are we doing? It's Haskell January. Do we have just January? Oh, I kind of like that name. I kind of like that name. Just January. Do we have main.haskell? All right. So what we've been doing, kind of, for those who have not seen like the prior Haskell Januaries, is over here to the left. This is currently running as a Haskell guy. I am seeing your communication via Haskell currently, but then also the what do they call these guys again? The redeems. These are being run by Clojure. We sort of have like a horribly like a horribly spread out system. Everything's being like there are three like programs being run, and they're all being run in three different languages, and this is kind of like unideal. And I would like to at least merge together the redemption and the chat, as they call it, the redemption and the chat. These two objects at least should be an ideal system would run it all in owl Lisp. I've heard premonitions of like a potential owl Lisp future. This might be something that we look into. I'll have to check the like Geeks package for it first to make sure that's like up to date. But this is sort of like a. Can we actually can we note that? Can we note a like? Can we kind of like note like a resolve for 2026? Owls like Owlus. We will talk about this. We will this will be an occurrence at some point. This will be an occurrence at some point. Maybe possibly add a tag for a new version. Yeah, this would honestly I could probably just reach into the guts of the package and do like a package modification on it to just base it on the commit rather than the version. This is as long as like there aren't new build dependencies, this should work without killing the package immediately and everything inside of it. But yeah, we're kind of this is sort of like something that like I want to check out because it's a Lisp and I love all Lisps as mostly Steel Bank Common Lisp. This is sort of like this will sort of be the return to form post Haskell January. But I think that like an owl Lisp session would be very fun. Poking at things I've yet to poke at. This is sort of like most of the enjoyment of this, I would say. She owl on my Lisp till I caught. So true. This is sort of, I think this would be quite fun to do. But yeah, currently though it's Haskell January, so unfortunately we are not allowed to use Lisp. Or maybe fortunately, because like that means that we do get to use Haskell. So we've been sort of like writing like Haskell to interact with like Twitch. And I think that where were we in the process? I think that like currently kind of like the or your character reminds me a lot of Raccoon's mascot. This was actually kind of like I think kind of like the inspiration, like a design inspiration. like especially for like I think the head shape, you know, I so like the head shape. I was like I don't know how to draw like a bug's head, and then I remembered like the raccoon mascot. And I'm like, oh, this thing would be quite nice. Like I think sort of the impetus I had for this was like, what if it was like a raccoon like thing, but we there were like lambdas in the wings because of Lisp, because I was doing a lot of Lisp at the time, and I don't own like a webcam, and also I'm not gonna like show my face ever. I think like on a stream, but I don't know. Um, and I was just like, I need. I was just kind of talking, and I was like, I remember thinking, I'm like, it's quite weird to just talk. So I drew this guy, and uh, yeah, now it talks. It's programmed in C. Um, yeah, yeah. I think the whole thing is in C. It kind of interacts with Haskell like via like some JSON like parsing. It's kind of fucked up. It's incredibly it's incredibly fucked up. I just sort of made it with SDL, and then was like, okay, I hope that it just continues to work forever, because I don't want to refactor any of this, and it has. A Perl Interacu booth at FOSDEM, and I'm very. Oh, this sounds exciting. But this sounds exciting. The whole concept of FOSDEM itself sounds exciting. I am I am excited on your behalf as well, because I feel like I would have a ball at such a thing, as they say. I don't know. I I quite I don't know how I feel about Perl. I just kind of think of it in the IRC context. That's really the only time I use Perl, I would say. But I, I don't necessarily hate it. I guess, as I think there are Perl haters. I think it's pretty. I think it does its job, and it does it pretty well. Is kind of like my thoughts. But yeah, what? So where were we in this? I think kind of like what I've been doing with it mostly lately has just been getting everything sort of like to do a thing. It's kind of difficult to like get the like post parts done on stream, because these require keys and etc. And also I think that like if I request a new token, it's going to invalidate the current tokens and remove my existence from the current stream, or at least like remove the things that are running, I guess, from the current stream. But what we've been kind of like working on lately is I've been kind of like working on the. Oh, that's the wrong file. Are you still here? Can we go to can we kill you? All right. Yeah, I put it in this guy. What I've been working on currently is kind of like just getting the Twitch API like aspects to work Haskell style. Oh, hello, Kira. Hello and hi. Welcome. Um, yeah, we are doing Haskell because it's January. You know, you, so it goes, as they say. So I've been sort of working on getting the, because can we pull up an API like the uh can we pull up Twitch API? Can we pull up Twitch API? Can we go to the? Can we go to here? Um, can we? Can we get contents? Who do we want to look at? So I've been working on kind of like the authentication part lately, and this is sort of, I think that this part will. I think that kind of like it's at the point where the remainders of these pieces will need to be performed kind of like away from, where I can just like add basically like input like secrets to like my input line, so that I can debug it without it like being a security hazard. So we kind of can't work on that currently, but what we can do is on the here they are the event sub guys. So this is sort of, I think this is sort of like we can at least get this set up. We can get its skeleton set up within kind of like the type system and everything, as they say, so that, because I found that like once it's kind of set up, if it compiles, it sort of just works. This is, you know, I this has kind of been the beauty of Haskell is like it sort of just works. Like if you manage to get it compile, that's the hard part, I think. Which it's not too bad. It's not. It was kind of bad. It was kind of bad at first, but like I have grown as an individual. So what we kind of want to do is, this is, they call it bug sort. So we want to kind of like work through the WebSocket flow with this, which means that we actually kind of need like a WebSocket server. I think that we have, what is it? What do they call this? WAS, I believe. Yeah, the WebSocket secure guy. So we have this guy. We have this guy, which, let's see, where do we live? Where do we live in terms of the skip to the README? Yeah, can you give me the README? So it's a small addition to the WebSockets package. Let's see. So I think that where do we? Yeah, this is kind of the case. Let's see. I think that we just import that guy, and it should just do the WebSocket. They don't seem to have like a documentation page like beyond the README, which is kind of, this has thrown me askew to some degree, I think, because I'm very used to being able to click in this. Oh, modules. There we go. There we go. Okay, I just do not know how to read. This is kind of common knowledge, I think, as well. Is like I do not look enough at what I am looking at, and then I'm like, where is it? And then it's right there. This is, so it goes. So it goes. So I think we can just import this guy. Oh, we have to do concurrency. Okay. Oh, this is kind of fearful. Okay, I guess we're going to learn about concurrency kind of in this process as well. But we have this guy, right? We have the server, which ultimately what this is going to do is this guy is going to be like, hello, I'm going to run, and like you will give me token, and we're going to get a token from that, like, and then once we get that, we'll be able to do the WebSockets. I think that what we kind of want then is sort of to define a system for like the WebSocket itself, because this is sort of what I found is a good way to go about Haskell, I guess. Go about Haskelling, like to. I've been saying Haskell Rascal to myself to some degree. Like I find that this is a great combination of the two words. Like this is how I in my heart, this is how I feel is the way to be a quote unquote Haskell Rascal. We'll stick with that. We'll stick with that. Is sort of like defining kind of like these systems as a type that can then just send its information over, because then I can get like, compiler red whenever I fuck up, instead of it just being like, okay, :3, and then breaking later and being like, oh, sorry. So I think that being said, what we kind of want is a like WebSocket type, right? So can we make socks.haskell? This seems like a good name. And then can we grab the guy? Can we grab the that's kind of like another like, oh, that's gonna take a while. Oh, I should have built this. I should have built this before. Okay, so I guess we have to wait for the flake to evaluate. So it goes. But yeah, oh, it's done. So I was in kind of the process of moving some of the dependencies that were missing from Geeks over to Geeks, because it turns out that there's not a lot of Haskell packages on Geeks, right? Like this is something I kind of knew, but it's not because they're hard to package. I think it's just no one on Geeks like programs in Haskell. I think this is sort of like the main thing that is preventing these. And the GHC version is a few versions behind. It's not like the latest version of GHC, but which I kind of I don't I don't really care about these things. I don't care about like the most up to date version. But this of course causes some issues I think with like packaging it, which just it kind of requires research I think to some degree, which it's kind of annoying research. This happened with the WebSocket thing. Hello, Science Seductive Bug City. This is kind of the case. Yes. This is kind of the case. Big Bug Eye. This is kind of the this indeed a lot earlier than I usually do on a Saturday. I think. Or did you finish Pathologic 3? I did not finish Pathologic 3. I keep forgetting to play video games. I keep forgetting to, like, I bought this game and I played it and I got so I guess you would say like it made me kind of anxious, like because it's pathologic. It made me pretty anxious, but like I got to a point where thinking about the game, I would think about the game the same way I used to think about like I guess I don't know, like having like a really hard exam or something. It reminds me whenever I took Russian. This is how I'll describe it. Like it reminds me like the anxiety it generates in me is the same like anxiety I would have like with like my like oral exam for like Russian classes, and the which is unfortunate because it's a very enjoyable game, but at the same time I'm like I must build up my mental resolve to move forward with this, but I kind of do have to finish it because I did buy it. It was kind of pricey. It was kind of incredibly pricey. So I think that what we want with the WebSockets is, first and foremost, we'll kind of import the guy. So can we import? Uh, can we? Okay. Cool. And let's see. They offer this run secure client. Okay, this is sort of the. So this is sort of the guy. Okay. Here we go. Hmm. Let's see. So I have the host name, the port number, string, and client app. All right. So I do wonder what the client app is. It's this guy. It is this guy. Which I'm assuming that this guy comes from WebSocket library. Slavic languages are kind of crazy guys. Yeah, this is sort of the case. I took Russian because I like the. Okay, so do people know about can we just open it? Let's see, Kino, the band. So this was like one of the reasons I took Russian was because I really like this band, and I was like, it would be cool to take Russian because I had to take a language class, and I was like, it would be cool to take Russian kind of in this case. I did not know what I was getting into. Kind of the other case was like I had kind of this lofty idea that like I'd be able to read like Lenin and like native Russian. Like this was sort of like a thing I thought like I'd be able to do. I did not realize that like I would come out like being barely able to ask like basic questions. How would you feel if the computer was evil and fucked up? I don't know. I would feel. I feel like I feel like I would love the computer nonetheless if it were evil and fucked up. Can you read Cyrillic? I can. I can read Cyrillic. What I cannot do is understand what I'm reading. I think is kind of like the main issue. Like I can read it. I know like some very kind of like basic words. I think a lot of it's a lot of it's kind of like lost on me now. OMG, I tried learning Russian in high school because of a Russian band as well, but stopped when I learned the politics of the guy. Yeah, I feel like Privyet, Privyet, Privyet indeed. Yeah, I um I don't know. I don't know how to do anything other than say privyet back. It's been far too long. Oh goodness. I think Strasvoitya. I think this is how I think this is the response Strasvoitya. Um, but I could be wrong. I could be incredibly wrong. I hope I hope that is the correct one. But yeah, I can read Cyrillic. I cannot do much more beyond that, unfortunately. I think, though I haven't encountered like a situation where like knowing Russian would have, I guess, benefited me like socially. But I don't know. This is sort of like a very I think like I guess I would say like kind of like a very different approach like learning a language than like I had. I wanted to do it for fun, not necessarily for like the utility of it. But yeah, we're kind of benefits GeoGuessr runs. Oh, this might be true. This might be true. This might be true. So what we want to do is connect to this. And how do we verify a connection? So we have run secure client. I think that we can just kind of get this guy. Can we get? So it takes a. All right. So I think that we need to import the network stuff as well. So can we import network, not TLS, not TLS. Network dot what do you call it? Dot socket dot types. Is this the guy that we want? Do we want I think we want client. Yeah, I think we want what we want is let's see. Client and then that is client app. Right, client and client app. Is this it? Does not export client. Okay. Huh. I wonder if we can just go to the internet and figure out what this guy is called. Like where in the socket? Oh, it's in network.sockets.client. Okay, so I think that we have to do. Oh, I can't read. It's WebSockets. Okay, okay. This seems to be the problem. This seems to be the problem. All right, so client C does not. All right, I think we do need this guy. So client. Let's see. And you're called client app. Okay, okay, okay. We are finally building. We are finally building, as they say. And we also need the host name and the port number. Okay. And these are their own guys as well. So, oh geez, that's a lot of imports. Or not a lot of imports, I guess. It's just kind of like it's a lot of different packages. This is something I have noticed, and kind of like the, kind of like in the like, the state of haskelling has been importing like one thing from 5 different libraries, but I don't know. It could be worse, I guess. It could be worse. At least there's a way to like qualify the imports. Let's see. I was trying to learn enough to understand what the fuck Russian-speaking streamers are talking about, but didn't really get that far. I This is actually a really I really like this as a kind of like a reason to study it. I don't know. This is good. This is good. I'm a fan of this. So this is just from network.socket, and that is the host name. Do we have? Can we just do? Can we just do? Do they call it types? Yeah, types. I wonder how we import this. Let's just try host name first and see if that works. Okay. Oh, that does work. Okay, exciting. And then let's see, port number as well. Let's see. I'm trying to learn enough to be able to travel in Eastern Europe and babble my way there. Oh, this is kind of a good reason as well. I'm not really familiar, kind of like with the world of Eastern Europe. I think this is like I'm not really kind of aware of what this is like. Um, but I know because I know in some parts of Europe, I hear this like mentioned with regard to Germany, for example. It's like if you speak German, I could be wrong. This is hearsay, I think, from the internet. But I've heard that like if you speak German, like people kind of I don't know like or people will just talk back to you in like English. I'm not sure if this is kind of the case. But I wonder about these because what do they call it like uh, lingua franca is that lingua franca I believe is kind of the term. I think we have like English and Chinese are kind of like the big ones of this. These are like things that like people will speak kind of like across the globe to some degree, but there's variation of this as well, I think. And I wonder this about like different regions or talk to you in simple German. Oh, okay. Okay, I may have been misinformed. I may have been misinformed then. As mentioned, this is hearsay on my end. I have never traveled internationally because the idea of being on a plane, the idea of being on a plane is sort of like I'm okay with that. The idea of like entering an airport, I think, is not necessarily the one I find savory. I think they sort of seem like they sort of seem like queuing hell mixed with like like a like Kafkaesque like bureaucracy. This is sort of a I think of like Franz Kafka whenever I think of airports, and like vice versa. I think of airports whenever like I think of like Kafka. These two things are kind of like synonyms in my mind. I think French people will immediately respond. Um, oh, I think that this. I might be thinking of France then. I might be misremembering. This might be the case. So we need to grab the hostname guy. What is the? Let's see. What is the path? Or yeah, string path. Okay, so I think that's just like the okay, it's that little guy. It's that little guy. So I think that with the host name, what we kind of first want to define is like a like socket like connection so that we can just send all these guys off kind of like all together. We can pack them up together. So we sort of have these imports. Can we define a data? What should we call this guy? Let's just call it sock. Let's just call it. No, let's name it after our namesake as we currently have it. So let's call it bug socks. And I think that actually how do you do these? What are they called? These guys, yeah, the uh, GATS, I believe, general algebraic data type. I've recently learned about these guys, and this is mostly because Emacs like recommended or like the linter like recommended it, which is kind of epic, which is kind of kind of amazing, but I'm not necessarily sure kind of like what the you know advantage of doing it this style is, but apparently it's kind of like good for simulating like a kind of like dependent like type. I think to some degree, though I could be completely in the wrong. So this would be a bugsox. Can we just call this the bugsox server? Yeah, that seems like a more descriptive name because we will have a client as well. We will need to use a client as well. And we kind of want the host, and this will be a host name type. Um, you cannot be capitalized. Yeah, all right. We also do need the port number, and then what else are they requesting? What else are they requesting? It seems that it's also the I think for the path itself, we can kind of keep this kind of like as its own thing, just in case we want to change it up some. You know, like if it winds up being the case that we want to change it up some. Hello, Bug and Bugshot. Hello, Freeful. Welcome and hello. I hope you're well. We are we are Haskelling because it's January. It's because it's Haskell January. Do we want to use the path? Let's see what. Let's see. Can we get rid of Wikipedia here? 86 assembling. Oh, this sounds exciting. I was thinking about assembly the other day. Just sort of like um this is something I barely graced. I only graced this to some degree, and then after that I never really attempted it like beyond like maybe poking at it like for a week or so. I keep thinking I'm like um okay, so this is sort of like something I've been thinking about a lot. Is a while back I tried to like write a kind of like a Lisp that can run like bare metal. This sort of resulted in I wouldn't necessarily call it failure. This sort of it more so resulted in me getting bored and like dropping it, and like forgetting like what the C like program did that like I was writing, and forgetting like how to read assembly after some time because it's been a while. But I was thinking back on this like program the other day. I'm like, you know, I think the folly lied in like trying to build a Lisp up from C rather than like I think what you could do is use Common Lisp to construct like I guess like I guess you call it like use Common Lisp as like an assembler or like a like a builder for a bare metal Lisp. Like you can sort of like use this to I guess it would be a C like write a C compiler in like Common Lisp for like a very like awful version of C that like is very like I don't know. This is sort of yeah, this was sort of like what made me think about it is like the and this might get rid of some of the headache. It might add more. I think the only way to find out would be to make the attempt. But like I I wonder if this would get rid of some of the headache of like just straight up doing C without access to the standard library, because this has been quite a pain. Alternatively, you could skip like the C portion and have like the Lisp like um, Zeta C. Hmm. I'm not familiar with this one. What is this? What is this? I know that the inspiration for it was the inspiration on my end was this is can we add a Lisp so that we can get relevant? Can we add a Lisp and get relevant? See. Um, okay. Gimmick SBO to generate. Yeah. Um, yeah. I think that this is kind of like the this is kind of like what I was thinking is like, what if it like just kind of like generated the assembly directly, kind of like bypass the issue of C like entirely, but like it would be like at that point I feel like it would be like SBCL. It'd be like a Lisp writing like a Lisp that can run like bare metal. I don't know if we'll ever have time for this like within the year of 2026, because after January ends, we are going back to work on Wayland. I think this is sort of like the what do this like my white whale. I think and it must be it the Common Lisp Wayland stuff is like the white whale of my programming existence. There has been ooh, this is exciting. I know about I know about this guy. I know about this guy. What I I forget its name. Mazzano. Yeah, I'm aware of this guy here. And this is sort of like what made me kind of interested in it. I think I wasn't necessarily interested in like building an OS though, but like I like I like the idea of like kind of like a being able to like get Lisp but like just run on bare metal. But this kind of led me into the rabbit hole of like OS dev and realizing just how much stuff there is kind of just to get anything to run. Uh, for this, I would be excited to know this if you do uncover it. Um, this was like my kind of like fun. This was mostly in C, but like I was trying to conform my okay. So my this was like one inspiration. I think like the primary inspiration for this was what do they call this guy? Loco Scheme. Um, this guy Loco Scheme. Yeah, I this was like my main inspiration here is like it was a mix of this and then what do they uh what is it called? What is it called? Oh, this guy. It is good. It is good. It's very or C not fail IRC. Yeah, it's a very good system. I was kind of it was this guy and then what what is the what is the other guy called? I'm let's see. Can I just find it if I type in statically typed scheme? I a pre-scheme. Yeah, that is it. I could not remember the name. I could not remember the name. But this was another guy, right? This pre-scheme. This was kind of another guy that like I was very kind of swept away by the idea of pre-scheme, right? Like of this you have kind of like this statically typed scheme programming language. And I was like, but I like Common Lisp a lot more than I like Scheme. I do enjoy Scheme, but like I don't know, there's something about using Common Lisp that feels there's nothing quite like it. I would say. I feel like Wayland is the bane of everyone's existence in one way or another. And yeah, yeah, this is indeed the case. I've been writing. I don't know. Saying I've been writing is a little maybe maybe a little generous. I think the last like update was several months ago, but we're going to hop back into it. But I had begun writing like Common Lisp bindings for Wayland. This is sort of this was the part of the reason I think I initially ever hit go live. Was like I should do this live so that I feel like some some responsibility to see this through. And then I realized that that's I, I don't know. I thought that it would like make me feel a bit more responsible to keep up with the project, but it did not. But we are returning to it because it haunts me like a it is the specter. It is the specter which like haunts my dreams. Mostly because I'm gonna have to rewrite a lot of it because I was very bad at Lisp whenever I started it. But yeah, we had I don't know this has kind of been like the thing and you kind of learn through it that Wayland is a little bit of a nightmare, but like it's also like really cool. Like it's kind of like the combo of like cool and evil. I don't know. But yeah, but yeah, I don't know that is sort of like the goal is like that will be the that'll be the evil XML files. This is so the XML is okay. The XML is okay, right? The issue is yeah the XML file. So okay. I know it's Haskell January, but I think we have to talk about Wayland. I think at least briefly. Can we can we just type in Wayland Linux so that I get what I want on the first search? Can we go to the source code? Can we go to the Wayland website? And can we use this to go to the Wayland Git repository? Because, all right. And then can we use this to go to Wayland again? Because for whatever reason, the repository does not show up if you just search it, I think. Which is kind of, I feel like it's kind of evil. I don't know. Maybe this is just a normal thing, for so this is the fucked up guy, right? This is the fucked up guy is the scanner. The XML is okay. The scanner trying to create a version of this that outputs Common Lisp instead of like the C programming language. has been sort of like the nightmare of like the project, and I indeed did get it to work for like client definitions. I got it to work on client side, which is feels to some degree like a miracle. I didn't think we'd ever get that far. Oh, hello A squared. Welcome. Oh, thank you for the subscription as well. Meteor. Oh, why did it not go off? Are we dead? Did we did we die? Hmm. Do we have meteor?
Meteor happens.
Oh, we do have it. Okay, that was weird. The Yeah, I think this is part of the reason why this thing needs to be I think transformed into not three different programming languages like uh, activating on the same guys all at once. But hello, hi, welcome. But yeah, this is kind of like a fucked up guy, right? Um, because Wayland is kind of like weirdly documented more generally, and they talk about like like the systems and stuff. They're kind of documented, but then you kind of get to this, and it there are portions of this that are very like abandon all hope, like ye who enter. I spent several nights just reading and rereading like multiple portions of this for that very reason, and it kind of goes on for like for quite a bit of ways. You know, it goes. Oh yeah, this has been the case for years. This has sort of been, this is this is this has sort of like been I think an issue since its inception to some degree. Unfortunately, um, but I don't know. I I would say kind of like in spite of all of these things, I like as like a protocol, kind of like as like a way to kind of like approach these things. I am very much a fan of I guess Wayland. I don't know. I quite like it, but I don't want to write things in C, and I don't want to use kind of like any of the other currently existing bindings that exist. I wanted to do it in Lisp, but this is sort of like, you know, this is sort of the thing. It's like you have like stump WM on like Zorg, right? You have it on X11, and you have the attempt currently going on like Wayland, but what it's using is it's using like a C. It's using like a C backend, right? It's using like a C backend for the server and stuff, and just like exposing Common Lisp for the configuration language, which is definitely great, right? I bet you could write a river window manager in Lisp. Yeah, I think this is a thing in the yeah. I know River, like you can use like the language to kind of like specify, but I'm not talking about like a I'm not talking about like a system that is like built on like a backbone of like a C, like like a Wayland server written in C that is then has like Common Lisp like bindings exposed for the user. I'm talking about like we use we create Common Lisp bindings for Wayland itself, and then we build up from there. I don't know. This like I think I've used this phrase already, but like it very much is the white whale of I think like my I don't know my programming. There's been quite a bit of progress, and then I kind of stalled out. How do we make microprocessors from parentheses? You know that I believe that's the task for another bug. I think in these like in these or maybe I don't know if I can figure out how hardware works, but this seems like a whole different world. Like I don't know. The things just keep going. I feel like until like eventually you're like thinking about like rocks that like conduct electricity. I don't know. It's kind of crazy how far these things like go like both up and down. I don't know. It's kind of wild that like computers have been a thing for like a century. Whenever I think about it, it's very wild. But let's see. Uh, that's a good wait. Or that's quite nice. And stuff that used to be made out of vacuum tubes and stuff that Yeah, I know it's very it's very interesting. I kind of like I think about what are they, the like punch card like computing. I I was thinking about this. I remember seeing a thing talking about how like back before there were like text editors, like the editing was just done on like paper. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. This is crazy that like we've already made it that far. But yeah, we're kind of we have to Haskell, I think, to some degree. So I think that are what we're doing currently is what we can do is kind of like run this over the run secure client. But I wonder if we need a kind of like wrapper for the app, like the client app type, or is this a good enough guy? Is this a good enough guy? All right, so it takes a connection and then outputs an IO any. Unless machine will rise again. Uh, oh, hello, Niche Penguin. Welcome. Welcome. I hope you're well. We're doing Haskell right now because it's January. It's January. I yeah. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I think about it like with regard to list machines. I'm like I live like I was born I think after like sometime after the fall of these. As like a method of computing. But like I kind of wonder kind of like about this because I've heard some good criticisms of it, but I think kind of like whenever I first discovered Lisp, there was sort of like an excitement I had for like doing Lisp like down to the hardware. Would be super exciting, and then there was the Lisp OS. I think the Mazzano, and they're sort of doing this right, but then like I was messing with Mazzano a little bit, and it sort of made me realize that like not having a C compiler in like your operating system is sort of like you know you won't you it kind of just ends there. I think like that's kind of like or it's hard to make it like super I think usable with most of the world. And what I sort of like this sort of led me to I guess you would say uh, or how do you spell that? Mazzano. Yeah, that's how you spell it. It is a Lisp, like common Lisp operating system that is being worked on. It's really impressive. Like it's incredibly impressive. I will say this, but I definitely think like I don't think that you know as unfortunate as it is, I don't think that we would have Lisp down to the bare metal. I I've been thinking about this because like I run like GNU Geeks, right? This is my operating system, so I kind of think about this. So like it's sort of like opened up my understanding a little bit to like what how much you can do on top of like the I guess like Linux kernel like nonetheless. So you can like you can have like Lisp down to the kernel basically, and from there like you're you're still kind of like working with like the Linux kernel is like your base, which and this opens up a great deal of like opportunity I would say as well because like it's Linux, and from there you can like work your way up in like Lisp, and this is sort of what Geeks does with you know with the Scheme programming language, and I think the IL Scheme is okay, but I keep thinking like imagine if this was like a imagine if this was SBCL. That's all I think about is like imagine if this was like the language I like the most, and not one that is not my favorite. But I sort of think about like these sorts of things. But you know, um, you I crashed my trains. Oh no, this sounds harrowing. I hope you're okay. Oh oh yeah. I forget that I have this. We have a hangout place, I think. And then I think we also do have it. Does this one do a message? I forget my own commands. Do oh yeah, it does. We have courtesy of at L colon Q. We have an IRC, and then courtesy of Discord, we have a Discord. I don't know if you ever want to hang out, I will message through IRC. But I will occasionally open Discord. I think I try not to if I can help it, but like I will be present there. But yeah, I think we have to kind of freaking Haskell here. So what do we define as a connection? Let's see. So that's how the client app is defined there. Run secure client does take the client app A, which here there's just a WebSocket that, okay, I think I understand it now. So the IO action here is just kind of like it's the dues. It's the dues. Okay. Okay. This makes sense now. So are we taking like a function, I think, in this case? Hello Tayumisi. Hello. Oh, foreboding emoji. Foreboding emoji. This is sort of this is a frightening manifestation of worm-like technology. C. Hello WGAFFA. Was about to go to bed, but a Haskell dream, having second thoughts. This is indeed, so yes, we're kind of doing Haskell January. Every January we do Haskell. These are the things that these are the ways of the world. In January, it's like, I believe state mandated that you have to do Haskell, I think. This is only the second year though, so I'm not great at Haskell just yet, but we're a lot better than we were last year, I think. That's kind of like the cool part of this. But have you ever tried Xmonad? I tried to play around with it like a little bit. Whenever I was on X11, I just used Stump. It was kind of hard to use anything other than that, because it's kind of the best thing ever. Like it was kind of like the best like window manager in like the world. I miss it even to this day. But yeah, I switched from that to, I used Qtile on Wayland for a while, and I had like a very like, I guess like broken like custom build of Qtile that eventually like, I don't know, I mostly like all my window manager like hopping was done primarily on, I'd say, Wayland until I got Hyperland to like work, and then I'm sort of just here. I'm sort of just here now, which it's quite a good. It's quite. I'm using Neri nowadays. I have thought about this guy a little bit. This is sort of like my fallback plan if like Hyperland blows my computer up again, because it was doing that for a period, but it seems to have quit, which I appreciate. I appreciate a lack of computer explosion. Alright, so the client app. Oh, am I quiet? Or are we silenced? I don't know. Am I? I guess am I hearable, or are we exploding? Let's see. Here, let me turn up the volume a little bit. I think where's the here you are. Is this a little bit better? Is this a little bit better? Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that this was due to we had sort of like a pipewire explosion the prior stream, and then it turned out it was because like my computer was out of memory. This we oomed, but like I didn't know what was going on at first. So like I fucked with pipewire for a little bit, kind of initially, and I think I accidentally lowered the volume and all of that. But okay, of course, yeah. Um, so the connection is just a function. So I think that yeah. This is or going to eat have farewell to sorcerer and Kirsch as well. Good farewell to you both. Have a good nap and have a good I get a return from break. Or or shall I say geeks? This is quite funny. I do appreciate this. I called it Guex for a little bit. I did not know how it was pronounced. I was like Gnu Guex. I think this is sort of I think this happens somewhat because they have the pronunciation on the website, which is feels quite silly to me. But also I think is necessary. Oh, we're gonna have to learn concurrency. Okay. There was a new Geeks release. Yeah, I saw that this morning. I was kind of excited for this. I'm like, this is exciting. We're gonna have to figure out how to do concurrency in like Haskell. This is sort of harrowing. Can we just like, I don't know. What is this from? Control concurrent. Can we Haskell? Let's see. Control. Because I wonder what sort of gotchas are embedded within this. Ooh, and Prolog. This would be exciting. This would be exciting to see. I think. Prolog is one I'm not quite familiar with, but it's always seemed interesting, like conceptually. I think. What does fork.io do? Creates a new. Let's see. Computation as the first argument returns thread ID of the newly created thread. Warning: exceptions in the new thread will not be rethrown unless the thread that create or in the thread that created it. This means you might be completely unaware of the problems if when it happens. You might want to use the async client. Okay, I'm kind of happy they included that warning. We might do that. We might do that. I don't know. I kind of don't want to import it yet. We're gonna try with fork.io, and if we die, this will I think be resolved. But we have fork.io, and then we also need the let's see. I believe that the client, yeah, for the client, we just need the hostname and port number are the main guys that we need there. I don't think that we're going to. We can include the path actually. Why not? You know why not? Yeah, why not? And then this outputs the yeah, this outputs this guy. Oh, yeah, no periods. Okay. Okay, we got okay. Okay, we're okay. We're okay. Let's see. And then control.monad. Forever unless and void. Oh, we're kind of getting into fearful territory. That we're getting into new like new guys. We're getting into new guys, I think. Which is fork.io a function, right? Or a type? Yeah, we're doing a function. And then can we import control.monad and then forever unless and void. So I kind of wonder what these guys do, but let's just import them so that we can kind of investigate them within here. Okay, can we let's see. Unless, okay. So I think that what we're going to do with this guy is just Okay, so it literally is just like an unless block. So that's how we would define it, it seems like. So I kind of want to. No, I don't think we need to new type this guy. I think we can just do kind of like the function style. So we will do, let's just call this, let's see, run WebSocket. I think that what we're going to want to take for this is, it's just I think it has to be the client app type. Yeah, I think this is the case. It has to be that type. Because we're passing this to the run secure client, but that would be the actual WebSocket like connection itself. So for run secure client, what we can go ahead and pass is, can we pass a server? Can we pass the what do you call it? What do you call client app? And I think what are we outputting here? What are we outputting? We are outputting a. All right. Any reason you're using the GAT syntax for a bugsocket server? Honestly, the reasoning is that whenever I do not, EGLOT tells me that I should. I don't quite understand GATs yet. This is sort of like so this has sort of like been these like the quest toward understanding, I think, with like the doing Haskell is I began this, I think, kind of like flying blind, like knowing nothing about the language, but like building up as I go along. And GAT is something I recently encountered. I do not fully understand it just yet, or how it's differentiated from like a normal like algebraic like data type. But I did begin. I kind of begun like I think like whenever I have the time at least trying to study like type theory a little bit more, because I don't really have like a background in this stuff at all, beyond just like having fun on the computer. So I don't know like the kind of like theoretics behind a lot of this, but I don't know. This is a guy I don't fully understand yet. Is there a reason not to use it? I guess. Would there be a reason not to use it? Would be kind of like my question regarding that. Let's see. It returns a. It returns kind of this kind of guy. Find it more busy than regular record syntax. Honestly, yeah, this is I think a good reason. I don't know. I kind of like how it looks. Like I found it like a little bit more readable. I don't know. Whenever I first was like starting Haskell, I felt like the record syntax it felt a little unwieldy to me, but this makes a little bit more sense like in my head, but I don't know. I wonder now, kind of like what is the advantage of like using it? I think that from what I've read, if I understand correctly, is that you can kind of like define something similar to like a contract on a type. You know, like I think this is sort of like what I understand it as, like the primary advantage is like you can sort of like create like type obligations. I'm not sure if this is something that would benefit like any of the types I currently have, but you know, this is sort of like, yeah, I don't know. This is kind of like what I've been like trying to like learn. I think the past or especially like week or so, is like understanding like how types work a bit more. It's been very exciting. I will say I've been reading what is the book? What is the book? What is the guy? Typing and yeah, I've been reading this guy. I've been reading this guy. Can we types in programming languages? Yeah, I've been reading this guy recently, and I don't know. It's very it's been kind of an experience. I think I I don't know. I haven't read like a lot of like computer science like theory or like kind of like or like the theory and practice behind it, and so I've kind of read books on this. Like I've read the C programming language book, and then what's it, uh, SIP as well, as well. This has been another that I have read, and so like I've read these guys, right, but I haven't like read something that's kind of like not language specific. So this is somewhat exciting. It's been a fun little adventure, I think. I've had quite a blast with it, but yeah, I'm hoping I'll kind of understand kind of like the different types of types, you know. This is sort of like one of my like knowledge goals of like the year. It sounds silly to say it like that, but like I I don't know. I like knowing. I like I like knowing about programming. I think it's sort of like this has been such a rabbit hole. But it is sort of like I don't know. I I'm sort of hooked on this. I think would be the best way to describe it. And so I want to learn as much as I can about it as I am doing it, so that I can do it better. And also, I don't know, like theory is kind of fun. That's kind of the other thing. I kind of fuck with it. Like I kind of it was a bit harrowing at first, but I kind of fucked with this, like understanding kind of like how things work outside of just like, oh, this is what you do in this language because like you kind of gotta. Like it's like looking under the hood. I guess as they say, it feels like, but like looking under the hood of like I don't know, like why languages are implemented the way they are. This is I feel to some degree that I'm rambling about this, but I think it's just because I get quite excited kind of about like gaining this, I guess, a bit more deeper like understanding of like, oh, it's not just written like that because that's how it is. It's written like that for like very kind of like, I don't know. I think JavaScript is kind of just written like that because of how it is. Like but this was sort of like the case of like being implemented very quickly, like being designed like in a couple weeks. But like it's like these things build upon each other in such like an amazing way. And I don't know, you can spend forever like wandering across these tomes and like learning. I don't know. It's very fun. Plus, I like whenever it gets mathy. That's kind of the other thing is I like the more math oriented aspects. But yeah, this all kind of started because I think well, really kind of just started because like Lisp was like a big motivator, but like Haskell especially is like motivated more toward like understanding like types. I think. So this guy, what do we want this? What do we want this to spit out? I think is sort of all right. Monad IO. This is what I'm only vaguely familiar with. I think. Let's see. Monads in which the I/O computations may be embedded. I think for this we are just outputting I/O, so we should be good to go with this here. Uh, to me, Haskell is the language I used before Rust. You see, I kind of encountered it because I encountered it, I think, because of Rust. I tried to use Rust and I found myself quite kind of vexed by it, you know? Um, I done maybe 2-ish years of like C programming as like a hobbyist. And then like I encountered Rust and I sort of I did not understand why like I had to follow the rules. I think, and so I was like I should learn Haskell too. I guess like I felt like Haskell would be a great way to like understand the rules a little bit better, like in an interactive way. And I sort of, you know, I encountered the same roadblocks with Haskell at first, but these have slowly cleared. I think like we've slowly paved a way forward with by way of experience. So that's all you have to do to run the client itself. But what we want to do is So we want to take the server, and we want to be able to pass these guys off into the... So let's see. We'll do run WebSocket. And then we are going to take the like server and then client equals, and then how are we gonna do this guy? We're gonna do this guy, I think. Like literally do this guy. Run secure client. So this returns the monad guy, the monad IO guy. I don't think that we need to like unwrap this in any way. I think that we can just kind of like have this be a wrapper over so run secure client, and then we need to give that the host name, port number, the actual like path, and then the client app. All right, so let's see. I think for this, so we'll do like host, not host, server, and then it's in that order exactly, right? Yeah, host, port, path. So we can give those guys over, and then we will also need the client. Right. I put two S's. Oops. Okay, there we go. See, expecting one or more argument to client app. Okay, so we kind of have to do a. So I think for that we can just go like this. Oh, okay, that works. Okay, amazing. So I think the next question is like, what do we want to actually like kind of like define this client as? So this will be for the Twitch.television WebSocket guy. So first we need to go ahead and connect to him. So that's kind of like the first step, is actually kind of establishing a connection. Which, let's see. So I think that connects automatically. Can we just call this the, let's see. Can we just call it Twitch client? And then can you go that way? Equals and then I think once we actually connect, what we're going to want to go ahead and do first is, what I had been doing is kind of like outputting these guys into kind of like outputting these guys into like standard output. So I think that once we connect, we need to actually subscribe first. So let's see how we do this. Okay, so this contains the session ID. Okay, I am recalling. It's been a little while since I've done this, and the original was in closure, so we will need to get the session ID. So, this will require ASON, I think, as well. So, like, can we grab import data.ason, and then we're probably going to want to get a like session welcome guy here. And then what parts of this do we actually care about? We care about the payload. So, and the session has the ID, status, connected, keep alive. I think that we really only want to grab the ID, I think that we'll also want to go ahead and grab the status. So um, can we just do a, let's see, data, we'll call this welcome message. And then let's see, welcome message where, oh, we already did where, oops. Who do we care about? Yeah, ID and status. So let's see, we'll do WID so that we don't have like name conflicts if we have another ID guy. And I think that we'll just define that as a string, and then we'll have W session string. All right, and this will output the welcome message, which sort of like puts us in like the kind of like next step of this is we need to actually figure out how to get the JSON out of this, which will be its, you know, it's sort of its own sort of like situation, I think. Do we have the refresh here so that I can see how this was done once upon a time? Yeah, we probably do want to derive the show for this. Can we, oh wait, parentheses go on the outside. So deriving show. And do you explode? Nope, you get okay. Okay, that is nice. So we don't really care about getting this as a JSON. We just, or like converting this to JSON. We kind of just want the from aspect. So it sends it as an object. It sends it as two objects. So we have, or is that a single object? What we want is the payload session within kind of like the larger object, which this is, I think that what we can do for this is we can have like a parser defined for the session and then also the payload as well. We can leave out the metadata part completely. So let's see, can we create a parse session? Can we create a parse session? I think you will go right here. This will probably be moved at some point, because I feel like the message parsing is going to get somewhat convoluted. You know, I think the question is how do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? So I think every single one of these has a metadata and then a payload and session portion. Can we get the reference? And then let's just grab a random one just to see what we get. Okay, no. So they all have the payload. So what we can do then is probably just like define like a payload type of some sort. Or I think for this, ooh, how to approach this is kind of, Let me look at our ASON documentation really quick, because I think for this, like, there's kind of like a couple ways that we could go about it. I would say kind of like the path of like least resistance would be to do types, or not types, just to do functions for it. I feel like defining like a type that is just getting access to like parse one guy out of is somewhat convoluted. I believe that ASON does in fact give us like a type that we can go ahead and work with directly. So let's see what we have here. So we have from JSON, where. So I think what we actually want is the encoding and decoding. Let's see. Convert a value using to JSON. So I think that what we want to do is convert this into Yeah, I think that we'll want to use the value guy on this. Or do we want to use the object guy on this? This is, ooh, okay. See, the value type, which is an instance of from JSON, is used to represent arbitrary JSON AST. And that embeds the object. I think that we can just work with the object type directly. I think that we can do this. I think that we can do this. We're going to need. Did we already add overloaded strings at the top here? We did. Okay. Okay, beautiful. So who are we messing with here? We are doing the payload and session. So we're just going to try and like get session as sort of like is the guy that we're going to, or we'll do like get payload. I think that's a bit more general, and then like from there we can kind of like define like a get session on it. So let's see. I think for this we can just do something like get payload a equals, and then we're going to want to decode it, or is it encode it? I think it's encode. Oh no, we do want to decode. So we're going to want to decode like whatever we grab into a maybe object, and then we're just going to want to somehow check like the name of the object. I think is sort of like the or like assure, I guess, that like the payload is in there. This is going to require, I think, lenses, which is a little bit unsavory. Maybe we can do it kind of like, let's see, what kind of guy do we have, or what is the type of decode? So okay, so it does return a maybe. So what we can do is, let's see, let's just define like a little result type guy here. Equal, and we want to decode a, and that is going to be a maybe object. We'll do n, and then c. We can just do that. So case r of, because if we get nothing, that's kind of like a problem. That's kind of a that's bad news, as they say. So case r of I think for right now we're just gonna kind of do an either type on this. So we'll just do left and then fail to parse payload. Yeah, that seems good enough. If we have just r, we want to go ahead and lens, like do the like lens guy on the actual payload itself. So how do we do these? This is where it gets a little bit more. It gets a little more harrowing, I think. Can we figure out? Can we see the decoding to a Haskell value? Because we want to. Oh, is this the way? This is kind of this. Okay, this is a little bit terrifying, but I think that we should be able to just do it like this. I don't know. What do we say about decode? So this returns the nothing there. I think I'm thinking a little too like strongly about this. I think it's a much easier guy. In fact, I actually know it is because I think that we did something like this with the like scoping information. So yeah, I think that once we grab that, we can go ahead and we can just kind of do. So we'll do R is see how does okay. So we might need to use parse JSON. And then what? Let's see. Okay, so we will need to convert it to a value. All right. And then I think that what we want to do then is figure out how to like get the interior. Where was their example here? Oh, okay, this might be it. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So we can sort of undo that, and then we can do they call this with object. And then what are we naming this guy? We are going to do like a lambda style over it. Can we just call this guy payload, and then a lambda we'll just do lambda p, and then I think it's you do the C. So we need to return another object, I think is a bit of the difficulty here. I think this is a bit of the difficulty is we need to wait, that's not hard at all. We just do this. Okay, so we're doing with object. All right. And then what are the guys that live inside of here? What are the guys that live inside? Let's see. That's all we want. We just want the session. We just want kind of the freaking session. So I think that we can just grab that like from. That's all we're grabbing. Wait, what? Okay, why did it take me so long to think about this? Let's see. We want to convert this into an object. We're just grabbing the session, and then we're kind of good to go. We're just kind of good to go. Maybe, or maybe this is horrible and fucked up. I think we're about to find out. And then use this guy. Yeah. Okay, this is the syntax. So p dot oh wait, no, because we have to grab the payload first. Because the payload is wrapped up in kind of like the object itself. So we're creating that guy right there. I think. What errors do we get? All right. I think we can just return that. All right. Oh, it is 4:20. Oh, I have to wind this down soon. Oh no, I have I have engagements to attend to after this. Uh, hello, El Zafro, and hello, Rat Ratatosker 9. Well, welcome both. Yes, this is we are doing Haskell because it is Haskell January, so we do Haskell on Haskell January. I think we're near the wrapping up portion because I have occurrences occurring in an hour and a half, which I should be getting ready, but I want to figure this guy out first. All right, $sign is applied to too many arguments or too few arguments. So I think. Oh, I see. Because we just want to. See. I'm in pain having to write bootstrapping compiler LLL to use C. Oh, we don't have a today. Oh no, this is not something I ever actually thought of like creating. This might be a good idea. This might be a good idea. But what we're kind of doing right now is actually rewriting kind of like the Twitch like Twitch interaction stuff in Haskell. This is sort of the today. Can we actually do a to do here? Can we do a? I should like add a today or something. You know, this is. You know, I think that we're gonna have to add this now. I think these sorts of things slip my mind until they are needed. I think we build it on the fly, I guess. In this regard. But we will have one next time now. We shall have one next time. This shall occur. This shall occur. So right now we're kind of figuring out where we are fucking up horribly. This is currently the case. Oh, we need to wrap this into the either. Okay. All right. So we need the right. I think we can just return it kind of this style. No? No? Are we... Is it over? Oh, do we have to return the P here? Let's see. Yeah, because that returned... Okay, I see now. Okay, because that will return the guy right here, I think. No, that's not how it works. What we in fact want is maybe... Oh, we might be... Oh, we're going to have to implement this guy. I think this might be the way to do it actually. I think I was trying to avoid having to mess with that, but I think that if we do that, we'll just call this R and then That's just decoding the A. So decode A, and then who are we? The fuck is flip? Okay, we're entering new territory. I'm assuming parse maybe just converts the um, yeah, I'm assuming that parse maybe is just going to go ahead and convert this guy into a maybe type. This is, yeah, that is exactly what it does. Um, so I think the primary issue that we're going to have to do now is Haskell compiler, please warm up my PC. My room is cold. I do kind of think about this. I quite appreciate kind of the warmth of the computer on the cold in the cold winter that we are currently experiencing. Let's see, uh, can we parse maybe? Parse maybe apps. Okay. So I think the flip the flip is kind of the where I'm getting hung up. Can we go to Google? Can we go to Google? Can we open up Google? Can we do flip? Seriously, what the flip? Okay. Oh, it just flips them. Okay, it just does what it does. That I feel quite silly now. This is this just a guy? Okay, I feel quite silly. I was looking at this. I'm like, what the flip? This is perhaps over the situation of overthinking to some degree. I think the question is why are we flipping there? I think, oh, is this oh, I think it's because is it because we're sticking the result inside of this guy or sticking this guy inside the result maybe? Let's see. So if we're flipping the R, how does this work? Because if we do it that style, do you elucidate any additional information? Oh, okay. We're flipping or we're allowing it to take the A type first so that we can define the parser second, I think. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, I think. Um, oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, exciting. I've come to understanding. Um, we have the dollar sign, and then I don't think we do. I think we're just defining kind of this guy. Yeah, and then we do. So then we do. You go on the other side actually. So they allow us to do it like that. Okay, this is pretty cool. So we should just be able to do payload and then that's what we want is we just want the payload. And then from there we can, once we have the payload, we can go ahead and grab the session guys. Oh goodness. Okay, let's wrap this up so that I cannot be late. Can we just return P? Variable not in scope. Parse maybe is not in scope. Okay, we went. Hello, Sparkly Dark Matter 73. Haskell January indeed. Haskell January indeed. You're in types, so we need to grab that type. And then we're just getting parse maybe. Oh, we're kind of in hell. Okay, that's because that's a lens, I think. Control.lens. Can we go to, can we just grab this? No, you live inside of ASIN. Okay. Oh, no variable arising from use of. Let's see. Where have we begun our suffering? Huh. Oh, we have to specify, I think, the type annotation here. Which it should just be an object, right? Is this what we need? Oh. Where are we like going wrong with this? So it does make sense that, like, I guess the type annotation is a bit of an issue. If we do something like, because the JSON itself will end up being, I think, a kind of like byte string guy. I think this is what decode is expecting. Yeah, this is what decode here is expecting. So can we get type decode? Variable not in scope. Okay, exciting. Can we just import data.asin again, and then, so I want a byte string. Oh, we don't have byte string here. All right. Import data.byte string dot lazy. Because we want to take the lazy byte string, and then what we're trying to output is a maybe type guy. Is a maybe type guy here. And we want it to be a maybe. Wait, I think I... Can we... Let's see. Because that returns it as a string. Oh, this is quite difficult. Okay. This is this is not what we want at all. Actually, this is not what we want at all. Actually, can we just say this is what we, or like this is not what we want? Because we don't want the string. We want to be able to just get the interior guy and then spit it back out. But oh goodness. Okay, I am running a little bit overtime. I'm going to be late. Okay. Okay. I did not want to end there, but we have to end there. I think the clock is ticking, as they say. But thank you everyone for hanging out. We will be back again on Saturday. It's so true. This is I'm going to be thinking about. I have to go. I have to go assist with. Like I have to go assist with some things. I have things to do out in the big wide world, unfortunately. But this is going to be nagging at me in the back of my head the whole time. Now this is sort of going to keep me, you know, keep me with restless dreams until I can get back home and fix it, which is sad. Because I'm going to be thinking about this for eternity now. But I think, thank you all for hanging out. I think I posted this already. I forget that I'm supposed to, like, I forget that, like, or not supposed to, but I forget that I, possess these. If you ever want to hang out more or, talk talk to me or others in the universe. We do have places to hang out, but I wonder where we're going to go now. This is sort of the great question is who do we have that we can, that we can go hang out over at. Let's see. Who who? Oh, okay. This is exciting. This is exciting. We are going to go say hi to Tayubisi. I think this is this would be quite fun. So we will go there. I don't know. Add post worms. This is the as I say, raid advisory. Send in your worms, I think, is how I would advise this. But thank you all, you great and wonderful people. I hope to. Did it start? Okay, yeah. I hope to see you all again. And have more fun with this and grow our knowledge, I guess, with Haskell and etc. 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 See.
Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in, Big Book of Bug. Good to see ya.